Kurt's Movie Log Tape 3, date May 23, 1980, The Shining review. That time has come. After 3 long years of anticipation, we finally got a movie version of The Shining. It's an abduction of Stephen King's novel by Stanley Kubrick. Let's talk about Stephen King for a second. He was the first author, and not just horror, but overall the first author whose name I was aware of. Unfortunately, I'm the worst type of reader. I only read like 3 books in my life: Winnie the Pooh, That Blue One, and The Shining. Now, I don't remember much. It was probably right after publishing in '77, except for I couldn't stop reading it, which was weird because I was scared shitless. Anyhow, the dude dropped 7 novels at this point, of which, apart from the title one, you may know Carrie from 1974 and The Dead Zone from 1979. We don't call him King for nothing. The Shining is a supernatural horror movie. While most of the times horror focuses on physical monsters such as zombies, werewolves, mutants, vampires, mummies, etc., supernatural horror focuses on spiritual threats such as ghosts, witches, demons, haunted places or items, and malevolent forces. And now a couple of words about books. Literature and cinema are 2 of the best inventions in the history of inventions. I love books. Here, I said it. I love how they look, I love how they smell, I love how they work. And I encourage everyone to read as much as possible. But there are 2 reasons why I don't read as often. A. It takes 2 hours to watch a film, and it takes at least 2 days to read a book. B. Both of them can have the idea, the plot, the special meaning, but only one can have the acting, the visuals, and the soundtrack. The craft of acting is very important to me. A good soundtrack is like a bonus to every movie. And perfectly shot and edited film is an absolute orgasm. Now, don't get me wrong, my imagination is fine. I once had an imaginary friend, Carl. We were friends for 12 years until he got married and moved to Vermont. Back to the review, and we should start with the idea. As I mentioned before, The Shining is a supernatural horror movie. You may know that I'm not a fan of slashers, but what you don't know is that supernatural horror is my all-time favorite thing to watch. Those films usually go in 3 directions. The haunted route is gonna take you to flicks like The Changeling from 1979 and The Sentinel from 1976. The witchcraft route will lead you to films like Suspiria from 1977 by Dario Argento and Rosemary's Baby from 1968 by Roman Polanski, which poster you probably never see. And the possession route is bound to guide you to pictures like The Omen from 1976 and The Exorcist from 1973. The Shining takes the haunted route. A family goes to take care of and live in a remote hotel which happens to be haunted. Honestly, the premise seems perfect to me. Like, I have no good excuses not to love it, except for I do. Expectations: gigantic hotel filled with sinister apparitions. Reality: middle-aged drunk chasing his family with an axe. Yes, there are spirits. No, they are not the main focus. I prefer the main source of evil deeds in a horror movie to be non-human. I mean, we have thrillers for that. Tony, what's next? The plot. Oh yeah, and also a spoiler zone. Now, I'm not gonna compare the book and the film. They live in different dimensions, so let's keep it that way. So what worked for me is the atmosphere. I always enjoy when you spend almost the entire runtime with just a few characters. Isolation, solitude, claustrophobia, cabin fever. Who wouldn't love that? Room 237 scene was more disgusting than scary, but still. I appreciate nudity. In my opinion, it makes every film more realistic. My favorite part is when Wendy finds out that all Jack wrote was all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I mean, I would freak out too. What a slacker. The meaning of red rum caught me off guard. And a shout out to some smart decisions which are not that common in a horror movie. For example, when Wendy knocks out Jack, she locks him up in a storage room. Good final girl. And how about when Danny fools Jack by hiding his footprints? What didn't work was the runtime. The film is almost 2.5 hours and it shows in the first half hour. It's like every scene was stretched on purpose. And I think it can easily lose 40 minutes. Tell him about the acting. First of all, Danny, you know the rule, folks, don't work with kids and animals. I can't go hard on him because the actor was only 7 years young, and you know how they say you gotta act for 20 years to get really good at it. But he made a lot of stupid faces that made me laugh. Next one is Wendy. Probably liked her the most out of the main 3. By the way she was swinging her bat. And finally, Jack. I was never a fan of Jack Nicholson. Never liked his performance in any film, including this one. I'm not saying he's not a professional, but some actors you like and some you don't. I found Jack's take on Jack caricaturistic and over the top. Wendy, darling, light of my life, I'm not gonna hurt you. And what's up with that Tarzan yell when he was lost in the maze at the end of the film? Now the best part, which is the visuals, and I have nothing bad to say about it. The opening scene shot from helicopter is breathtaking. The hotel is mesmerizing, the interior is gorgeous, and the maze, well, amazing. Especially the greens and purples of room 237, and you can tell I like those colors. The elevator bloodbath, and I mean literal bloodbath, was outstanding just because of the correct blood color alone. This is the film you show when someone asks for a good camera work example. The way it moves around the actor, follows the tricycle, mimics the axis movements, deserves highest reward. And of course continuous shots, not just stupid cuts. And all that became possible thanks to big budget, and horror movies do need that to be more efficient. And finally, let's discuss the X factor. The soundtrack was disturbing, it fit the tone but wasn't memorable. End of discussion. And now it's time to do the math. It gets 1 out of 2 for idea. For a haunted hotel, not that haunted. It gets 1 out of 2 for plot, unreasonably long, and it works only thanks to the origin. It gets 1 out of 2 for acting, competent but a total miscast. It gets 2 out of 2 for visuals, Oscar-worthy camera work and production design. And it gets 0 out of 2 for X factor, not detected. Overall it gets 5 out of 10, which I call spark, and if you don't know what's that, watch tape 2. So that's it. In the end I want to say that it's not the scariest film, it's not the disturbiest film, yes, we're making up words now, but definitely one of, if not the most beautiful horror films. I wonder what would Stephen King say about it. I'd recommend it to fans of slow burn and people who like their movies on a big screen. So yeah, here's my review.